to study in hydrocarbons, alkenes, alkanes, alkenes, alkynes. Then we are also going to study their properties, okay, gradation in properties like physical properties, chemical properties, and their typical reactions, okay, sometimes substitution reactions and then addition reactions, and uses also, obviously. And the last part, which are these two parts are dedicated to typical compounds, alcohols, mainly ethanol and its preparation properties, and then carboxylic acids. Carboxylic acids are different from the acids which we have learned. They are different from the mineral acids, okay. They have different properties, they have different methods of preparation, and they have different uses also, because these are organic acids, these are not inorganic acids, okay. So although this portion has been cancelled, we'll at least see how they are named, and we'll see their basic properties and uses, okay. Basic आपण करूया याचं. So now let us start with the the fundamentals of organic chemistry. See, Friedrich Wöhler was a German chemist. He, in his lab, performed several experiments on numerous compounds, and at that time nobody knew about or very little knowledge was there amongst all the scientists about organic compounds, okay. Very limited knowledge, very limited literature, very limited resources were available. So what he did was he successfully converted ammonium cyanide, okay, I'll give you the structure after, which is an inorganic compound, into urea, which is an organic compound. You all are familiar with urea, okay. It's a waste product for animals, okay. Urine मध्ये basically urea असतं. It is a waste product, but urea is also considered as a fertilizer for plants, okay, most of the plants, and not in a if it is put in sufficient quantities, not जास्त quantity मध्ये टाकलं तर urea पण harmful आहे, okay, plant साठी पण. So he was successful in converting an inorganic compound to organic compound, and then started the revolution in organic chemistry, okay. So where did the organic word come from? Obviously it came from organism. Organisms means the काय म्हणू आपण, the species which are living, okay, जे dead आहेत तसं नाही, पण जे living आहेत, जे can perform life processes, those are called living organisms, and the word is derived from that, okay. When comparatively little chemistry was known, people thought that substances like sugar, starch, protein, acetic acid could be obtained only from living sources like plants and animals. So they called such substances organic compounds. The compounds derived from living organisms, and the chemistry dealing with them was named organic chemistry. As against these compounds, substances like common salt, blue vitriol. What is blue vitriol, by the way?
Copper sulfate.
Very good. Copper sulfate, 5H2O, correct. Then nitrates, carbonates, etc., would which could be produced from minerals and non-living sources like rocks and other things, were called inorganic compounds, and the chemistry dealing with them was called inorganic chemistry. Still it is called inorganic chemistry. Now there are sub parts also: physical chemistry, analytical chemistry, okay, so many types are there. Since these organic compounds were obtained straight from nature and there was no known method of preparing them in the laboratory, it was believed that they were products of some vital force of nature. The vital force theory of organic compounds was soon discarded when in 1828 a German chemist named Friedrich Wöhler showed that it was possible to obtain an organic compound called urea from the laboratory process, okay, from the inorganic compound called ammonium cyanide. It is not a cyanide group, a cyanate group, CNO, cyanate. ओके, एकच मिनिटात मी तुम्हाला त्याचं स्ट्रक्चर देतो. In 1845, Kolbe prepared acetic acid, okay, like vinegar, which we call, uh, uh, which is, by the way, IUPAC name आहे त्याचा इथेनोइक ऍसिड. ओके, खूप खूप नाव आहे त्याची. Acetic acid is the trade name. From its constituent elements carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, Berthelot in 1856 synthesized methane gas, CH4. In this manner, the old concept of organic chemistry was given up, and it was accepted that organic chemistry is essentially the chemistry of carbon compounds. But don't make this mistake that if the compound contains carbon, then it should be an organic compound. No, it's not like that. Okay. For example, we all know that if you pass CO2 under pressure in water, okay, then we get carbonic acid, H2CO3, which is found in all aerated drinks. Okay, thumbs up, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Sprite. That feeling चरचरतं ना आपल्याला, असं चरचरल्यासारखं होतं ना, that feeling is imparted by this H2CO3 because it is a mild acid, very weak acid, and although it contains carbon, it is not an organic acid. By the way, it is a inorganic acid. हे लक्षात घ्या.
Inorganic acid.
हा, म्हणजे कार्बन दिसलं की जम्प केलं आणि ऑर्गॅनिक आहे असं होत नाही. ह्याच्यामध्ये पण बघा, इफ यू नोटिस, this is, you cannot categorize this reaction at any, you cannot say it as a decomposition, you cannot see categorize it as a uh, uh, synthesis reaction, or anything like that. It is just the rearrangement of atoms inside the molecule. तुम्ही जर बघितलं तर एकच हे आहे, रिएक्टंट आहे आणि एकच प्रोडक्ट आहे. असं कधी बघितलंय का आधी? असं नव्हतं कधी. एक रिएक्टंट आणि दोन प्रोडक्ट बघितले, दोन रिएक्टंट एक प्रोडक्ट बघितले, कॉम्बिनेशन और सिंथेसिस और डिकम्पोजिशन, ओके, डबल डिस्प्लेसमेंट सगळं बघितलं, पण अशी कधीच बघितलेली नव्हती. So this is a special reaction. This is just rearrangement reaction, which is given by Frederick Wohler. So let me go to the whiteboard and show you the structure, how it looks like. Okay, so the structure is, तुम्ही काढून घेतलं तुमच्या वहीमध्ये तरी चालणार आहे. ओके, here we have ammonium ion. I hope you are all familiar with ammonium ion. सगळ्यांना माहिती आहे ना काय असतो अमोनियम आयन?
हो सर.
आठवतंय का? तो एक असा एरो देतो आपण, इट डिनोट्स द
NH4.
NH4 plus. Why this arrow is there? Because this lone pair, the lone pair of nitrogen is shared with the hydrogen. Okay, एक हायड्रोजन प्रोटॉन असतो, तो येतो. It has no electrons in it. It gets the electron pair wholly from nitrogen and they share it. That is why we show an arrow. It indicates a coordinate bond or dative bond. Okay, other three bonds are shared bonds. Okay, they are covalent bonds or molecular bonds. So we have NH4 plus and cyanide group, C triple bond NO मायनस, बिकॉज कार्बनची व्हॅलन्सी 4 आहे, इथे त्याला एक व्हॅलन्सी नाहीये, म्हणजे इनकम्प्लीट आहे. नायट्रोजनची व्हॅलन्सी 3 आहे, त्यामुळे इम्बॅलन्स आहे, अँड दॅट इज वाय वी गेट मायनस हिअर. ओके, सो दिस इज अमोनियम सायनेट. अमोनियम सायनेट, which is a inorganic compound. Inorganic compound. And then you get urea. Okay, so urea can be denoted like this. Carbon ची व्हॅलन्सी 4 आहे, ओके, आणि नायट्रोजनची 3 आहे आणि हायड्रोजनची 1 आहे. So this is how urea looks like. Urea. Okay, all valencies are satisfied. So this is just the rearrangement of atoms, as you can see here. This is urea, which is an organic compound. Okay, so this is how you should write. Of course, you have to right? Heat on the arrow. Okay, by heating we can obtain urea from ammonium cyanide. All right, then organic compounds. Based on the fact that all organic compounds essentially contain carbon, the term organic compounds now applies to the compounds of carbon, and organic chemistry is defined as the study of carbon compounds. This, however, excludes oxides of carbon. Okay, काय काय exclude करतो आपण? Oxides of carbon, for example,
कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड नहीं है.
CO2. Okay, they are not included in organic chemistry, rather they are not organic. Okay, then metallic carbonates, all metallic carbonates, you can say Na2CO3, NaHCO3. Okay, most of the carbonates and related compounds like metal cyanides, sodium cyanide, potassium cyanide, KCN. Cyanide group हा वेगळा आहे बरं का, असा असतो cyanide group. अँड हायड्रोजन सायनाइड असेल. सो तुम्हाला ऐकून माहिती असेल की सायनाइड इज पॉइझनस, डेंजरस असं ऐकलं असेल तुम्ही कुठेतरी, करेक्ट? सो दॅट इज ऑल्सो नॉट इन्क्लुडेड. मेटल सायनाइड्स मोस्टली, and metal carbides, metallic carbides are also not included. Okay, so let us see what are the sources of organic compounds. Of course all living organisms, पण बेसिक सोर्सेस कुठले आहेत आणि नॅचरली अकरिंग कुठले आहेत, म्हणजे नॅचरली जे आपल्याला हेल्पफुल आहेत कंपाऊंड्स. सो प्लांट्स वी गेट शुगर, okay, starch, cellulose, which is the main constituent of cell wall in plants, okay, as well as several drugs are obtained from plants. Animals, urea, excretory product, proteins which are essential for building muscles and taking or for doing other life processes also, fats, etc., are obtained from animals. Okay, all of them contain carbon. कार्बन म्हणजे कार्बन असा नाही मिळत, त्याचे मॉलिक्युल्स असतात. कोल, ऑफकोर्स कोल इज प्युअर कार्बन. डिस्ट्रक्टिव्ह डिस्टिलेशन ऑफ कोल प्रोड्युसेस बेन्झीन, टॉलिन. बेन्झीन अँड टॉलिन आर एरोमॅटिक कंपाऊंड्स. ओके, आपण त्याच्याबद्दल थोडं बघणार आहे. रिंग टाईप असतात ते. ओके, आणि त्याला एक असा स्वीट स्मेल असतो असा. ओके, नॅफ्थॅलिन, नॅफ्थॅलिन बॉल्स, डाईज म्हणजे सगळे कलर्स, ड्रग्स, ड्रग्स म्हणजे ड्रग असं नाही, मेडिसिन सॉर्ट ऑफ, and perfumes. Okay, all of them contain carbon. Then petroleum, of course, petroleum are the major hydrocarbons which we use on daily basis for as a fuel. Okay, in vehicles. Large number of organic compounds like gasoline म्हणजे petrol, fuel gases, परत पेट्रोल दिले त्यांनी, naphtha, diesel, aviation petrol, tar, etc., 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 all of them are considered under petroleum. Fermentation. Okay, what are the products of fermentation? Ethyl alcohol, तुम्हाला माहिती आहे की anaerobic respiration मध्ये किंवा ह्याच्यामध्ये इथाइल अल्कोहोल तयार होतो, यीस्ट मध्ये, करेक्ट? Acetic acid is the next product of fermentation, are obtained by fermentation. Wood, methyl alcohol, acetone, acetone is a type of ketone which we are going to study, are obtained by destructive distillation of wood. By the way, what do you understand by destructive distillation? खूप वेळा आला हा शब्द. डिस्ट्रक्टिव्ह डिस्टिलेशनचा अर्थ काय?
Heating of substance without oxygen.
Correct. Heating a substance in the absence of oxygen, complete absence of oxygen, is called destructive distillation. Okay. And then synthetic methods. Most organic compounds are synthesized in laboratory nowadays because it is possible. This was the first experiment in the laboratory. All right. So let us see what are the differences between organic and inorganic compounds one by one. Okay. First, presence of carbon. Organic compounds, carbon is a necessary element, compulsory. If it does not contain carbon, obviously it is not an organic compound. Okay, मग बाकी काही असू दे, not an organic compound. Inorganic compound, carbon is not an essential element. Okay, it may have it, it may not have it. Solubility, very important. Generally, organic compounds do not dissolve in water. For example, take an example of any oil. It's immiscible in water. Petrol, diesel, kerosene, okay, turpentine oil, they are insoluble in water. Okay, most of them. Then inorganic compounds generally dissolve in water. Okay. Solubility in organic solvents. They dissolve in organic solvents like alcohol, benzene, chloroform, etc. Inorganic compounds do not dissolve in organic solvents. Most of them. Okay. Melting and boiling point. They have low melting and boiling point because these are covalent compounds. Okay. And they easily decompose. Decompose म्हणजे deteriorate होत नाहीत. They split. Okay, we are going to see some reactions that if you heat a organic compound, especially in hydrocarbon, then sometimes hydrogen gas is released, or maybe some smaller hydrocarbons are obtained. Inorganic compounds generally have ionic bond. Generally, not all, but yes, generally have ionic bond, and hence they have high melting and boiling point. Okay, usually they do not decompose on heating, rather they will change their phase. Okay. Then fifth, combustibility. Organic compounds are inflammable, mostly are highly inflammable. Okay, they can catch fire easily. Inorganic compounds do not burn easily. Bonding, covalent bonds, mostly ionic bonds. Okay, not all, of course. नाहीतर तुम्ही म्हणाल असं वॉटर मध्ये कुठे नाहीये, म्हणूनच ना वॉटर मध्ये नाहीये, बऱ्याच याच्यामध्ये नसतं, पण मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर आयोनिक. Conductivity, they are non-electrolytes, as you can guess, because they have covalent bonds, so there is no way to form ions even in their aqueous solution. Okay, and hence alcohols, benzene, acetone, okay, and even not acids particularly, but other compounds are not good electrolytes. Okay, rather they are non-electrolytes. Acids are, carboxylic acid and they are weak electrolytes. Okay, only those that form ionic bonds are good electrolytes. Obviously, ionic bond असेल की ते break होणार. Isomerism, they show phenomenon called isomerism, which we'll talk later on. No such phenomenon is shown by inorganic compounds. Okay, जेव्हा मी isomerism तुम्हाला शिकवीन तेव्हा कळेल आपल्याला की एक्झॅक्टली काय आहे ते. Color and smell. Organic compounds have characteristic color and odor also. Petrol like color आहे बघा. Petrol like typical color असतो. टर्पेंटाईन ऑइलला कलर असतो. कुकिंग ऑइलला पण कलर असतो. बरोबर आहे. तर ह्याला प्रत्येकाला एक असा टिपिकल कलर असतो. तर तसं मोस्टली इनऑर्गॅनिक कंपाऊंड्सला असतो कलर, नाही असं नाही. म्हणजे कॉपर सल्फेट, ब्लू विट्रिऑल, झिंक सल्फेट, व्हाईट विट्रिऑल, फेरस सल्फेट, ग्रीन विट्रिऑल. मोस्ट ऑफ देम have color, but किंवा असं म्हणूया, some of them have color, most of them do not have color, and they are odorless also. Okay, 99% odorless असतं. Then reactions, molecular reactions are slow due to the presence of linkages, long chains of carbon atoms. These reactions never proceed to completion. Okay, we'll talk about this later on. Ionic reactions are fast and covalent reactions are slow. Okay, तर हे आहे डिफरन्स. So have you understood all these 10 points between organic and inorganic compounds?
Yes, sir.
100% मध्ये सगळ्यांना? Okay, okay. All right, so let us begin our study with unique nature of carbon atoms. आता हे का स्टडी करायचं, परत तेच आहे की कार्बन कॅन फॉर्म मिलियन्स ऑफ कंपाउंड. आय थिंक मोर दॅन 3.5 million compounds have been identified, or they are in existence till date. Okay, they can be prepared in laboratory now. Okay, तर तुम्हाला असं सहज सांगायचं म्हणून बघा की कुठं कशा कशात कार्बन असू शकतो. सोप्स, शॅम्पूज, ओके, टॅल्कम पावडर, परफ्युम्स, त्याच्या सगळ्यामध्ये कार्बन आहे. इव्हन क्लोथ्स मध्ये कार्बन आहे. आपण जे कपडे घालतो त्याच्यात कार्बन आहे. अरे कसं काय? अरे असणारच, कारण इट इज मेड अप ऑफ कॉटन अँड इट कंटेन्स लॉंग लिंकेजेस ऑफ कार्बन. ओके, नॅचरल आहेत ते, पण येस. आणि ऑफकोर्स इफ यू यूज सिंथेटिक क्लोथ्स, देन ऑफकोर्स देअर मस्ट बी कार्बन. ओके, त्याला काय ऑप्शनच नाही. कार्बन शिवाय कुठलेही सिंथेटिक क्लॉथ तयारच होऊ शकत नाही. ओके, The food we eat contains carbohydrates, proteins, fats. All of them contain carbon. Okay, vitamins, सगळ्यामध्ये, fuels, natural gas, petroleum products, medicines, explosives, okay, dyes, insecticides, etc., etc. All are organic compounds. This is hardly any walk of life where we do not need organic compounds. Okay, सगळ्यामध्ये carbon आहे. So carbon is essential for us and for not only for us but for sustenance of life also. आपण नुसतं यूज असं म्हणून नाही, पण आपण जे फूड घेतो त्याच्यामध्ये पण कार्बन आहे, त्यामुळे सस्टेनन्स साठी पण कार्बन इसेन्शियल आहे. लेट अस सी what are the characteristics of carbon atom which make it so special. ओके, मग याला एवढं महत्व का दिलं, तर ते आता कळलं की तो सगळीकडे सापडतो, पण का सापडतो सगळीकडे? पहिली गोष्ट, पहिलीकडे का सापडायची गरज काय? पहिलीकडे तो हायड्रोजन आहे, हायड्रोजन का नाही सापडत? हायड्रोजनही सापडतो, पण कार्बनची काही खासियत आहे ते आपण स्टडी करूया आता. ओके, सो युनिक नेचर ऑफ कार्बन ॲटम्स. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, टेट्राव्हॅलन्सी. So it shows valency 4. Now you must have seen this concept that if an electron is to be removed, okay, an electron is to be removed from an atom, energy must be supplied. Okay, energy must be supplied to that atom. येतं लक्षात? त्याला आयोनायझेशन एन्थाल्पी किंवा आयोनायझेशन एनर्जी म्हणतात, विच इज कवर्ड इन द फर्स्ट चॅप्टर, केमिस्ट्री फर्स्ट चॅप्टर मध्ये झालेलं आहे सगळं. And if we have more number of electrons like this, then more amount of energy must be supplied in order to remove all those electrons. Let's say carbon la 4 electrons आहेत आता. Okay, carbon has 4 electrons in its outermost shell because its electronic configuration is 2,4. So lot of energy will be required in order to remove all the 4 electrons from its outermost shell, which is impossible. Okay, that cannot happen. It's not that easy. Also, you can think it this way: suppose there are 4 carbon atoms, then why can't it borrow 4 atoms? Why can't it gain 4 atoms? 4 electrons. Sorry, का 4 electrons तो घेत नाही? If electrons are to be added, then energy must be released. ओके, असं असतं ते, एनर्जी रिलीज करायला लागते. दिस इज द कन्सेप्ट. दिस इज कॉल्ड ऍज, ऍक्च्युली याला काय म्हणतात? इलेक्ट्रॉन अफिनिटी. आठवतंय का तुम्हाला? असं काहीतरी झालं होतं. इलेक्ट्रॉन अफिनिटी म्हणतात त्याला. पण हे पण नाहीये कार्बनच्या बाबतीत, हे पण पॉसिबल नाहीये. ओके, सो कार्बन, ऑल्दो हॅव्हिंग 4 इलेक्ट्रॉन्स इन इट outermost shell, it cannot attain stability by gaining 4 electrons nor by losing 4 electrons. So what can it do? It can share electrons. Okay, and that sharing is possible because of its tetravalency. Okay, you can think of another element just below carbon, which also has, of course, same valency, but it also shows tetravalency, but not to the extent to which carbon shows. कुठला एलिमेंट आहे तो? कोण सांगेल? कार्बनच्या खाली त्याच ग्रुप मध्ये कुठला एलिमेंट आहे?
सिलिकॉन.
सिलिकॉन, करेक्ट. सिलिकॉन पण सगळे सेम कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक्स आहेत कार्बन आणि सिलिकॉनचे, पण सिलिकॉन एवढा प्रॉपर्टीज एवढे काय म्हणू आपण, एवढे जास्त दाखवत नाही. त्याची कारण वेगळी आहेत. ओके, त्याचं नेक्स्ट ग्रुप, नेक्स्ट पिरियड मध्ये अँड सो ऑन अँड सो फॉर, सो मेनी रिझन्स आर देअर. पण कार्बनचं तसं नाहीये. ओके, सो यू कॅन नोट दिस वन बाय वन. गिव्ह द हेडिंग: युनिक नेचर ऑफ कार्बन ॲटम्स. फर्स्ट, टेट्राव्हॅलन्सी ऑफ कार्बन ॲटम. अँड इथून ते एवढं लिहा आणि इथून ते एवढं, आणि हे डायग्राम ड्रॉ करून टाका. ओके, the second property is called catenation. Okay, what is catenation? Carbon atoms possess an unique property to link together, self-linking property, carbon to carbon bonds, to form very long chains. Okay, something like this. कार्बन 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 असे. ओके, आणि ते आपण पॉलिथिन मध्ये यूज करतो, म्हणजे सॉर्ट ऑफ त्या टाइप मध्ये. To form very long chains, this property is referred to as catenation. So give the heading, second heading, catenation, and write down this definition. Now the property of catenation is shown by other elements also. For example, sulfur. Okay, sulfur जे आहे ना ते क्राउन शेप मध्ये सल्फरचा ॲटम असतो. एसेट मॉलिक्यूल जो असतो सल्फरचा, मला माहिती असेल, ऑक्टा ॲटॉमिक. ओके, it also shows self-linking property, but not to the extent as the carbon can show. Okay, why? This is due to greater strength of carbon-carbon bond and due to tetracovalency of carbon. In this process of catenation, carbon atoms form straight, branch, and cyclic chains of atoms and can involve single, double, and triple covalent bonds. Okay. What other properties are there? Multiple bonds. Okay, किंवा हे लिहा straight chains. Okay, त्याच्यामध्ये लिहा A मध्ये formation of straight, branched, and cyclic chains of carbon atoms. What is a straight chain? Straight chain is, when carbon atoms are linked like this. आता ही पण straightच chain आहे बरं का, हे बघा. Okay, although it looks like it is a bent here, it's not a bend, it's a straight chain. Okay, we'll talk this when we do IUPAC nomenclature again. But what is a branch chain? If carbon atom, okay, one carbon atom is attached to more than two carbon atoms, two other carbon atoms, then it is called as a branch chain. In a straight chain, except the end carbon atoms, all the other carbon atoms are linked to only two other carbon atoms. Okay, always remember that. त्याला straight chain म्हणतात. मग ब्रांच चेन काय, तर ॲटलिस्ट वन कार्बन ॲटम like this one is attached to more than two carbon atoms. Okay, that is the condition. Then it is called as a branched chain. Okay, so these are also isomers in some way, which we will again talk tomorrow. And cyclic or closed chains म्हणतात त्याला. Okay, so they are in cycle. Okay, one carbon is attached to two other in that way. Okay, तर ह्याला सायक्लिक चेन म्हणतात. तर हे हेडिंग देऊन टाका आणि हे डायग्राम ड्रॉ करून टाका आता.